to see what's happened here, starting with Pantry Pride closing 24 stores 3 months ago, and then have the Grand Union get completely out of the state when they took at least 24 big ads in the Miami paper and put our name in there that they're coming after us. And maybe that scared us a little bit into going to work, Joe. Trying to do a little bit better job. Well, as I said, Bud cut me out on time. I do like to look back and reminisce at these meetings a little bit about where we've been, but mainly to cast our eyes to the future and see what our opportunities are and where we plan to go. And we do have an opportunity. Let me remind you of one opportunity you have. One of the greatest obligations I think you managers have is to properly train new people that come with Publix. Because if we're going to do the things that they're talking about here today, we're going to have a lot more good people. And an opportunity you may not realize that 8,000 to 10,000 high school students work for us a year or less. We have probably 18,000, Bud, 17 part-timers. And I estimate half of those work a year or less. And I'm bumping into people all over the state now that have bagged groceries for Publix or been a cashier. And if you're contacting 8,000 high school students a year, it'll only be a few years where they'll be buying groceries. And it's important that they leave Publix feeling good about the company so that they can take pride when they do start buying groceries and saying, well, I used to work with Publix. That's an obligation you have to train our people, an opportunity you have to work with the part-timers. And as Charlie told about the 15 new stores and all the enlargements, I'm trying to get John Turner's eye to see if we would have enough money to pay for this. In the early days of the store managers' meetings, I'd look you fellows over and shake my head a little bit and think, well, how can we meet that payroll? But fortunately, business is good enough now that I don't have to spend as many hours worrying about meeting the payroll as we used to. But we will spend more time thinking and planning about how to run better stores, because I could sum it up in a nutshell, everything we might say in a 3-day meeting as a success in this as any other business is just run a better food store. That covers a lot of things. And we think we're improving all the time. We've made great strides in our manufacturing facilities and our distribution facilities. And other people are getting smarter all the time too. So we're not up against some country boys in this business like we may have been 40 years ago when did anybody run a good store. You had a real opportunity then because you might be the only good store in town. In fact, for many years I thought I was before we moved to Lakeland. But now there are other good stores. And we must cash in on our strengths. And I think you know what they are. But Joe had some letters he read yesterday, he didn't read today, and we're glad to call your attention to some of the things that we just don't do right, fellas. As smart as you are and as good as this past record looks, we goof, all of us. That starts with me on down. There are little things that we do that we could do better. And that's the purpose of this meeting, and to have somebody here like Mr. Timberlake to give you a little inspirational talk and let you know that it's a great opportunity. And I've never looked upon a new year as I do this one. Now, Charlie may shake me up a little bit. I used to say that every time we open a new store, I just get a thrill. A chill kind of goes up my spine. I'll be buying an overcoat, Charlie, before you get through those 15. Hope so, anyway. Stock, I mentioned, be for sale 1st of March at $10 a share on a limited basis, as it always has been. Any questions? Anybody want to ask me anything? If not, I've run a few minutes over my allotted time, Bud, and I say thanks again. Add my thanks to the others for the great job you've done. And can tell you that, in all sincerity, that at the moment, the way the sales are coming in, the way the outlook is, we have a job, and it applies probably to the East Coast stores more than through here, that we may not be able to handle quite well. And that's getting the people in and out of the store. When a store of 21,000 square feet that's doing 200, overnight goes to 300, because that's the kind of problem we like, but sometimes it's hard to handle. I wish more of you had that problem next week. Some of you will have opportunities for big increases, but what I'm speaking about is down on that East Coast. But since we're not getting that much increased volume, then I guess it's more important that you treat our customers in such a way that they'll find themselves preferring to come into Publix than somewhere else. In other words, if you want to run a real successful store, just treat every customer like she was your lover. Good to be with you.